Welcome, guys, to session number 5 of the Carnivore Evolution podcast, a podcast dedicated to help you on your health and fitness journey. Today's guest is the Carnivore Latino, where he will talk to us about his experiences using an animal-based diet and how it has actually transformed his life. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing well. Thank you for having me. I've been wanted to share. I share my story with everyone. A lot of people don't believe me. I just turned 62 years old, and
Wow.
people look at me and they're just like, "No, there's no way." So then I show my driver's license, and it's like, "Oh, you were born in 1962," and I go, "I'm telling you." And then I'll show them my pictures from before, and they don't believe me. They're like, "There's no way." And then when I tell them what I do, they're like, no, that the doctors say they're gonna you're gonna die if you don't change that around. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 7 years, and so I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like they say, proof
Yeah.
is in the pudding. So back in the 80s and 90s, I believed in all that low fat, non-fat stuff, and I didn't eat any eggs. If it was, I would eat one egg, and I always wondered. I was always tired. I was always chubby. Um, so then in 1996, I decided to try to lose some weight. A higher nutritionist, he put me on, the 1 cup of steel oaks and honey and almond butter in it, and eating 5 meals a day. And I was prepping a lot of food, which at times, I was getting really tired of it. Because, oh man, I got to prep food again. So every Sunday, I had to prep my food. And so fast forward to 2001, I got injured. And no, well, let me back up. And so in 1999, I did a bodybuilding show. So I did the whole meal plan. 18 weeks. I went from 280 pounds to 196, and I was 6% body fat. He wanted me to go down to 3%, but by the time showtime was, I was already at 6% body fat. So I said, no, let's just do it. I'm just doing it. It's not going to be like, I just want to experience it. So I did all that, and then in 2001 or 2000, I was injured. I ripped my kneecap off playing softball, and so I had took a while for have surgery. So I had 2 knee surgeries on my right knee, back surgery because I have nerve blocks done on my right side, and then my shoulder I had a ripped, not a rip, but a hairline tear on my cuff inside. So I went to did the surgery. I did the 2 back surgeries, but I was trying to avoid my shoulder surgery. And then after from 2001 all the way to 2008, I went up to 380 pounds. I was taking all the
Wow.
medications. I was doing all surgeries. I was eating all uh, the pizzas from Costco, buying all the frozen foods, doing all the easy stuff. All the things already in packages. And I said, "Oh, this is like no, non-fat, low-fat, or this is healthy for you." I never realized until later on in my carnivore journey that I had to read labels. I didn't realize about labels. And so fast forward to from 2008, my doctor told me that I was a type 2 diabetic. I had acid reflux. So I was taking metformin, I was taking omeprazole, I was taking a bunch of pain medications, Norco. I mean, there's prescriptions I couldn't even, pronounce. I was taking maybe about 7 prescriptions, and so I have 3 kids, and the doctor told me in 2008 that if you don't change your life, you don't do change your lifestyle, you're gonna become type 1 diabetic. I have a brother-in-law that's a type 1 diabetic, and I already saw him get his foot chopped off. So I'm like, Jesus, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. So then in 2008, I went back to my bodybuilding nutrition plan, and I did that, and I lost some weight. But again, it was like, Jesus, man, I have to do this all the time. It was about maybe 6 months doing it. I lost weight, but I wasn't past down 300 yet. So then I hired a nutritionist in 2010. 2012 or 2013. I hired him for a whole year, and he had me doing vegan, pescatarian, all vegetable diets. We were trying all kinds. I was going down. He had me one time eat 10,000 calories. I went to In and Out, got me four by fours. Went to Costco, got me a pizza. Went to Walmart, bought me all this junk food, these cookies, Oreos, all this stuff, so I can make up to 10,000 calories. Because he says my I wasn't burning enough fat. So I'm like, he goes, we got to shock your system. So I said, okay, let's do it. I mean, I don't know. At that time I had no clue. And so I was just following him. He's a nutritionist, so he's like the expert, right? So I did his way and everything. I mean, I love the guy. He's an awesome guy. I mean, he's a great dude and everything. I know he's trying to help people. Um, but then, so I lost some more weight, but I still didn't get off my type 2 diabetic pills. I still had the acid reflux. I still had a fatty liver. My blood test was all great. My LDL, I remember, was like 100 and something. The doctor was like, "Oh yeah, that's fantastic. You got to keep that down. You got to keep that down." So then, now we're in 2016, 2017. So in 2016, my nephew told me about the ketogenic diet. He said, "Hey, you got to listen to this podcast." So I pretty much know how to make meal plans. I understand macros and stuff. So I'm like, I text him back. I go, "Bro, that's like 75% fat. Have you seen me? I already have a big belly. I'm fat, and I'm always tired." And I go, "Nah, dude, I don't know if I can do that." So I kept researching. I said, you know what? I'm just going to dive in. And I went down the rabbit hole and I started pulling up Dr. Shafee. I started pulling up Dr. Berry, Saladino, way before he started eating fruits in his diet. And then I started watching Sally Norton and a bunch of other doctors. And then I saw that fat documentary. That was later on. But I just started researching everything. And then I started learning about reading labels. And so, you know what? I'm going to do this. So I created my own meal plan. I did 75% fat, 20% protein, and then 5% carbs. So I created my own meal plan. I did 3 meals a day. And this is now in 2017. I took my blood test. And 7 months or 8 months later, the first month, I started feeling different. Because I used to pick up my kids at school. And every time I get to their school, because my daughter she was in junior high school at the time, and my other two kids were in elementary. And so every time I pick my oldest up, she would come by and always knocking on the door because I was knocked out. I was always knocked out. And one day she came in, she goes, "Dad, those kids walked by, they thought you were dead," because I was knocked out. But I thought it was just, I'm tired, I didn't realize what it was. And then fast forward now to 2017, 8 months into this, I'm like feeling energetic. My girls used to do cheerleading up in Folsom, California, and I know a lot of parents, because we know all the parents and stuff. And one day I was like, man, I'm not tired. I was awake. I felt like this cloud just lifted off my head, and I was like looking around. I'm like, how come I'm not tired? I didn't get it. And then I get out the car, and one of the parents in front of me, she goes, "Man, every time you come here, do you always knocked out?" And I told her, I says, "You know what? I just feel great today. I just feel fantastic. I feel alive. I just felt alive." And so we start talking and everything, and every day was like that. I'm saying, I'm gonna stick to this diet because I felt different. And so 8 months came around, and I was down from 280, I think, from 380. So I'm like, this is really working great. My wife saw me, she started doing it, but she was doing it wrong. She was using more protein and less fat. So I adjusted her macros, and then she started feeling a difference. And so um, went back to the doctor and did a blood test. Everything came back perfect. My A1C was good. My triglycerides were good. My LDL was high. It was at 2 something, and he was a little concerned about that. And then my HDL was 100, and all the markers was good. And he goes, well, your glucose looks fantastic. And he goes, what are you doing? I go, oh, I'm doing this diet. Oh, you went upstairs to the Kaiser Wellness? And I go, no, I didn't go upstairs. He goes, and what are you doing? I said, the ketogenic diet. He goes, oh, no, no, no. You need to stop. You need to stop. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You're going to have a heart attack and blah, blah, blah. So I told him, have you researched the ketogenic diet? He goes, well, I know that it's a high fat and a lot of protein and no vegetables. You need your fiber. You need your fiber. And I'm like, oh, no, I beg to differ. And then he goes, well, you need to be careful because then later on you're going to have to be on statins. And I go, okay, listen, ketogenic diet was invented for people that had epilepsies and had, seizures and had issues. And it helped people. And even, in fact, it even helped them with the diabetes. And then he's like, well, I don't know if that's a reason. No, the ketogenic has been researched and researched and researched and studied a lot. I mean, maybe you need to go back. And this guy was big, okay? I mean, I'm taking an advice from a big dude that doesn't look healthy. He had a big beer belly. So I'm like looking at him. I go, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just a doctor. I mean, no disrespect to him. He's did his thing, but it's like they're programmed to just go one direction. And so I said, no, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. So then 2018 came around, and I remember there was a carnivore group doing a 30-day challenge. So I got off my metformin. I haven't taken it for a long time, but the only thing I couldn't get off is my omeprazole. I kept having heartburn. So then I did the 30-day challenge, and uh, it's funny because uh, I was doing it and I was getting nervous. I go, man, I hope I don't have a heart attack. I hope I don't have a heart attack because I still had that mindset that meat is bad for you, even because I was only eating only 20% protein. So I mean, it's a lot, but not like I'm eating now. Now I eat about 2 pounds of meat and I feel fantastic. But so then I did it for 30 days, and I noticed the first week and week and a half, I didn't have the heartburn because I was taking omeprazole in the morning, I was taking omeprazole in the afternoon, and I was taking it at night because of the heartburn. So then, as a reward, I told my wife, I go, hey man, I did it, I feel fantastic, and blah 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 blah. So let's go to this restaurant. It's called our Farmer Boys. This place, they pick locally farmers and they buy their products from them. And so I went and got me a Cobb salad. So I had the vegetables. The only thing I didn't get is the chicken. I'll get a beef patty and then I'll just cut it up in there. And I eat the Cobb salad. And 2 hours later, when I got home, I had the heartburn. And
Wow.
I'm thinking to myself, how can I have heartburn if in keto I was eating spinach, I was eating broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, all those vegetables, and I'm saying, oh, maybe that's why I kept having heartburn because of the ketogenic diet. So then I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back and do the carnivore diet. So I did another round of it for 30 days, and boom, it was gone. And I'm like, okay, that's got to be it. So and then from 2028, I mean 2018, I just did straight carnivore. I was just eating meat. I used to buy a bunch of ground beef, ribeyes. I buy the grass-fed butter, and I just feel amazing. Just amazing. And so as time went on, I just started feeling better and better and better. My libido was on fire. My workouts were intense. And then back in 2020, I started jiu-jitsu. And so my son, he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he's 8 years old. He's 17 now. And then in 2019, he asked me, he goes, Dad, I thought you said you're going to do jiu-jitsu. I go, man, I don't know, dude. I see these guys, man, they go at it. They're like armbar here, Kimuras, Americanas, and all this other stuff. And I'm over here at 58 years old. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. And so I asked the professor, Pancho, and hey, can I do like a test run? I just want to see how I feel. Bro, 10 seconds. I was tired compared to my road. I have an assault bike in my garage, and I can do half an hour. 20 seconds fast, 40 seconds slow, and I can do it and I have no problems and I can talk and I'm great. But man, 10 seconds in jiu-jitsu, it's way different than the assault bike. I was like, damn, I was huffing and puffing. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But then, I fell in love with it. So I started going every day, a lot of people would ask me, hey, aren't you sore? The first week, are you sore? And I go, no. And they're like, really? I go, nope, not sore. And then I went the next week and they're like, dude, you're here almost every day. And I go, yeah, I love this stuff, man. It's great. I was getting my ass beat, bro. I mean, I was getting armbarred, Kimura, Americanas. I mean, everyone was jacking me up. But um, as my health wise, I just felt great, at 58, going in at 59, going there at 60, now 62. I'm still going at it with jiu-jitsu, and I just feel fantastic, And a lot of the older guys there, I always hear 'em complaining about, oh, this hurts, that hurts, or my back hurts, and this and that, and then I tell them, yeah, I don't get none of those issues, or my hands, my grips, they hurt, but I don't have none of those issues. And then I tell them what I do, and they're like, oh, there's no way, I go, well, one of my friends has a wife that works for a cardiologist, and I told him, I go, well, there's other cardiologists that don't agree what the standard way of eating is, no eggs and stuff like that. And so, but I feel great, I feel young, I feel energetic, my kids are not older. I do jujitsu with my son, I'm active with him. I've always been active with my girls, but back then I couldn't because I was so big and I was walking around with a cane. And we would go to Disneyland. I would have to walk with a cane and get a handicap special chair so I can take. I just couldn't walk. I mean, it was just everything was hurting back then. And now, we go to Disneyland. I can walk all day, all night, and we don't leave there until the park is closed. So my acid reflux is gone. My diabetes is gone. I'm not on any medication. I hardly ever get sick. Um, I'm great with my kids. I'm more patient. My son actually told me yesterday. He goes, "Yeah, I noticed that you're very patient and you speak to me smart." I'm like, "Well, I just think it's a lot to do with my lifestyle, and my kids, my son especially, is trying to follow what I do, and so he asks me, well, how can I get the testosterone? I go, well, you got to eat more fat because the cholesterol. You need cholesterol, okay? And so your body already creates it. So I try to explain to him how the organs work. Your liver creates it. Your pancreas does this. Your kidneys does this. And so if you got to feed it the right stuff in order for it to do the right thing, even though it does it for you, but you add more, it helps, because it works differently. And so he's getting on it. He's on board now. He's 17. My two daughters, I have a daughter that has Hashimoto's. I've been trying to tell her that I've been listening to Sally Norton. I send her podcasts. I mean, it's like I tell my kids and I tell my friends, hey, bro, I can lead you to the water. I can't make you drink it. So, I mean, if I'm proof that if I can change my life from going from 380 pounds, getting off of metformin, getting off of omeprazole, eating the way I'm eating. Doctor's been trying to put me on statin for the past 4 years. I do not take them. I told her why, and she doesn't believe me. I even told her you should get the book. Actually, I'm starting to reading it. Something about the truth about cholesterol or something like that. And I told her, and she goes, well, I've been in the medical office. Oh, I understand, ma'am, but I've been doing this for 7 years, and I haven't had a heart attack. I eat a high-fat diet sometimes. Sometimes I'll switch. I'll do like a dirty keto. Sometimes I go to carnivore. Sometimes I'll do a keto, and I'm always, switching around, here and there. And I fast sometimes I do a nomad diet. A week I'll do a nomad, one meal a day. Another week, I'll do maybe a 17-hour fast and eat 2 meals in between. So I'm always switching it. I'm not never, the same because I did try that, staying fasting for a whole I did it for 6 months, and then I started feeling the difference. And then I started implementing and changing the fasting to different times. And sometimes I just don't feel hungry. I just kind of sometimes I feel like I just force the food, and sometimes I make sure I have the protein, I have a steak or I have ground beef, I'll eat fried eggs. Now we change from eggs. A lot of the stuff, the eggs that we get now, I used to get the cage free, but now that I've been researching about cage free and pasture raised, now and I just make sure I get the pasture raised eggs. And I think because I was higher in, because I noticed that my knee started hurting, and I know that's inflammation. So then I said maybe I'm having too much omega 6. So then I switched it to pasture raised, and now I'm feeling a little better. It's funny how you can feel a difference when you're strict on something and then you implement something in, and it's like you feel the difference right away. And so um, my my wife, she eats more than me. She eats 6 eggs in the morning with bacon, sausages, and then she takes what to work at lunchtime. She eats 6 ounces of ground beef with cheese. She adds her pickle. She eats 200 grams of fatty yogurt, and then she puts chocolate collagen in it. And then when she comes home, she eats some of my steak that I have in there. So I mean, she eats more than me. And she's a tiny little thing, bro. She's only like 5'3" and or yeah, 5'3", and she eats more than me. And I'll tell her that, I go, geez, man, you eat more than me, and I'll eat like maybe a pound and a half to 2 pounds of meat, and mostly it's ground beef. Or if I get a ribeye roast, I'll smoke it, and then I'll just cut it all up, and then I'll have it there for 2 3 days, and and I tell you, you're getting too expensive for me. I'm the one who's supposed to be eating more than you, but you're very expensive because we go through eggs like crazy, bro. She eats a lot of eggs. It's funny, but my
That's
uh
that's one
my
that's one thing that's one that's one thing I noticed as well. That at the very beginning when I started carnivore, I couldn't eat as much meat as what normal carnivores used to eat. But now I can easily go through about 2 or 3 pounds of meat easily.
Yeah, 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 me too. I can sit there. My professor, he did a barbecue. He's from Brazil. So picanha is his meat. He's always has picanha. So he bought maybe about 3 picanhas and 4 tri-tips. So I brought my grill over. We had it after class, and we're over there grilling meat. And he kept like tapping, "This is my boy, this is my boy." And we're cutting meat, I'm eating meat, he's eating meat, and everybody is watching us, with a bunch of salt on it. And the picanha is really delicious because I like the fat on it. And so one time I bought it here from home, and my girls, "Dad, what is that?" And I go, "It's picanha." And they're like, "Oh, really?" And I go, "Yeah." I said, "Look, I'm telling you right now, if you're gonna touch this meat, you have to eat the fat on top of it, or don't even touch it." And they both looked at me and they go, "You serious?" I go, "Yeah, I'm serious. You have to eat the fat on it. That's what picanha is. You have to eat the whole thing. You just can't just nitpick what you want and just take off what you want. No, eat the fat." And so my girls are still, which is what I regret right now because I wish I would have known what I know now. I would have done everything different when they were kids, everything different. And so now I tell them I'm trying to teach you what I know because that way when you have your family, you're going to understand how to feed your kids properly and give them the right nutrition because they hate when I go with them to the store. They do because they'll come over and say, "Dad, is this good?" I right away. It can say, sugar free. It can say, "Oh, it's keto friendly." I turn it around and read the labels. I read labels on everything. Everything I read. Nope. What do you mean? Cane sugar, allulose, and then it has sucralose. I said, "This thing has 3 sugars." And then the Fairlife, now they don't have it on there, but they do have sucralose and they have something else on it. But so my son likes the protein shake. So now I buy protein from grass-fed protein now, and for him to make it easier for him. And he used to give me the a Costco. We used to go and he used to go, "Dad, is this good?" Right away, open the box and look at it. The label, no, it's got carrageenan or something like that, and it
Mhm.
has cane sugar, and it had artificial flavors, and it had natural flavors. I go, "No, dude, this is not good." He goes, "Man." I can't buy anything. And I go, yeah, dude, I'm telling you right now, the government doesn't care about you, dude. They just want to make money for the pharmacists. That way they can supply you a pill. Because every time you go to the doctor, the first thing they tell you, oh, here, have this pill. This is going to help you. This is going to fix you. But it doesn't, because then it has a side effect. Then you have to get another pill for that side effect. You got to get another pill for that other side effect. So, and I'm trying to teach my kids, how to read labels. Now my son does. He'll pick up something, and I see him right away turning around and reads it and says, "Oh, hey, Dad, this has this in it, that had." Yeah, that's not good for you, dude. And then he goes, "Okay," and he puts it away. Now he's understanding. And plus he saw my videos on TikTok that I told the kids, and I go, "You guys got to watch this. Look, the government is going, all these doctors, Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson, are all going and trying to fix the healthcare system. And now we've got Kennedy, Bobby Jr., the Kennedys now up there, and they're trying to change it." And I told him, it's true, dude. It's true. They don't. There's a lot of things in there that in America we have, but in other countries they don't have. So we need to change that. And so, but me helping you understand that, I mean, look at me, dude. I'm 62 years old, bro. I'm 62. I'm in there fighting guys that are like 40, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old guys. I'm fighting with them. In every match, it's 6 minutes. And sometimes I do 6 minutes, rest 1 minute, 6 minutes, rest 1 minute, 6 minutes, rest 1 minute, 6 minute, rest 1 minute. I'll do four. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm there sweating and dripping, and people are looking at me, and they're like, "Dude, you're not tired?" I go, "Nope, I'm not tired, dude." And then they ask me, and I have friends in there that ask me, and I tell them, "I can help you, dude. You're really serious about doing this, I can help you. I can help you weave off the stuff." I tell them the first thing you want to do, get rid of all the seed oils. That's the first thing you want to do. Get rid of all the seed oils, and then learn about reading labels and understanding how it works. And then increase your fat. Don't get that margarine crap that I can't believe is butter stuff. Get the real stuff. You should be able to get a butter and look at it, and it should only say have two ingredients. That's it. And so, and a story about that is my buddy. We were talking one day, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm doing that coffee with butter on and stuff like that." And he goes, "But it tastes awful." And I said, "Really?" And I go, "What kind of butter are you using?" He goes, "Oh, I'm using a Lano Lake." And I go, "No, that's not the good butter, dude." Like, "What are you talking about? It's butter." "No, it's not. That's like margarine, bro." And he goes, "No, no, it's butter." I go, "Okay, do me a favor. Go get it. Tell me what's in the back of the label." And then he comes back and he goes, "Dude, it's got good stuff. Canola oil, vegetable oil." I go, "No, dude. That stuff is not good for you, dude. You got to get this." So I took a picture of mine and I sent it to him. And this is the kind of butter you need. So then a week later, I talked to him again and I asked him, "Did you get the butter?" He goes, "Yeah, bro, big difference." And I go, "Yeah, big difference, dude. You got to get away from the seed oil." It's just funny how people think that everything out there is healthy for them. The bread. I constantly with people at in jiu-jitsu and other places I go, they'll tell me, "Yeah, I had some carbs," and I'll turn around and go, "Carbs are non-essential, bro. They're non-essential, bro. Those are facts." And I can bring up that Professor Nodi, I think his name is Nodi, Professor Nodi. He talks about it, and I tell him, and I go, "That professor used to think that carbs was essential. Now he's backtracking everything and say, no, 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 it's not essential." And I tell him, I says, "I've seen, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. My kids hate going in the car. I go, "Dad, do we have to listen to another podcast?" They go, my oldest says, "Yeah, that's music." It is. I just love listening to podcasts. I love listening to what doctors say, professors say, other people's experiences. I just love listening to them because I think there needs to be a change. And me as one that grew up
Absolutely.
in the yeah, in the 80s and 90s
Yeah.
when I grew up, I was all into that no fat, low fat stuff. And now I just went 180 degrees on everything, and here I am, doing well and feeling great. Do I get injured in jiu-jitsu? Yeah, I got injured before, but I know it wasn't the food. But I do test myself though. There was last year, so and the end of the year is kind of hard because my wife's birthday is in November. My daughter's birthday is the 1st of December. My birthday just passed by. And then we have Christmas. Then we have New Year's. And then boom, So we got all these things coming at us. So last year I experimented and I had cake and ice cream. I kid you not, bro. I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, my knees were hurting, my shoulder was hurting. It was so hard to get off the bed. So my wife looks at me and she goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I says, "It's the cake and ice cream." And she goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah, I can't. I'm having a hard time getting out of the bed." So I kind of push myself off the bed and everything. It takes. My wife still does, eat her ice cream, stuff like that. And I know from listening to podcasts and listening to other doctors, they say, sometimes when you eat products that have chemicals, it doesn't leave your system right away. Some people think that you go in the morning and deposit, oh, it's all gone. No, you still have those chemicals in there that your body doesn't know how to process. So it's going to take time for it to get out of your system. And so I tell my wife that, and she's like, really? And I go, yeah. I can put a podcast right now and you can listen. No, it's okay. she, she says, and I can tell you that a lot of doctors, especially scientists and professors that study this, they say that it takes at least a year, 2 years. I've been eating this sad diet, the standard American diet, since the 70s. Here I am in 2018, 17, trying to undo all that. For me, it's going to take a while, because my
Mm.
body's so used to it. So here I am, 7 years, and I'm still feeling great. I'm still doing it. I'm going to do this until I die. Hopefully, that's like Dr. Anthony Shavy said we should live until 120 years old. You know, because see, for me, I started late having kids. I got married when I was 44, and so here I am, 62. My oldest is 23, my middle child is 20, and then my son is 17. And I want to be around for them. You know what I mean? I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle, see my son get married and graduate and all that other stuff. So that was one of the main things that made me change. I think it's a mindset that when that doctor told me, dude, you're about this close to become a type 1 diabetic. And I'm like, a hairline? He goes, yeah, you're like a hairline away. I go, hell no. I have to change. And so I did, and it just took, it's not overnight. It took a while. And, but still, it was worth everything now. And so now I'm trying to share my story with everyone. I want to help people, and people see me, especially where I live. They all look at me and they don't believe me. I do, like I told you in the text, I do security for Jiu-Jitsu World League because I'm a pretty big guy, and the guys there are all talking to me and asking me to do jiu-jitsu. I do, and I tell them I go every day and blah 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 blah. Because I don't know if you train jiu-jitsu or if you know people train jiu-jitsu. It's very it's hard. It's not easy. I mean, as far as once you get to know some of the techniques, it becomes, you know what to do. But for me now, it's easy because I'm a purple belt. Not easy, but I'm able to defend myself very well and attack. I know now. But to do that intense cardio, it's intense. And so one of the guys there, well, one of the ladies came by and she goes, "Man, I just saw your posts on Facebook. I didn't realize you're 62 years old." And the guy, "What?" He did like that, looked at me. He goes, "No, no, 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 no. You look like you're 45, maybe 52." And I go, "No, I'm 62, dude." "No, no, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe you." So I took my driver's license out and I pointed my birth, and he's like, "No, there's no way. You have to share your secret." And I go, "Bro, if I tell you my secret, you're not going to believe me." And then when I tell him, he goes, "No, no, no, no." And then I show him my Instagram page, and he's like, "Oh my God, really? That's it? No vegetables? No, no carbs?" Because a lot of Brazilians, they like to eat their bread. And my family's from South America, so and my dad's half Italian, so we eat a lot of pasta, we eat a lot of bread, a lot of rice. There's a Peruvian dish that's one of my favorites called lomo saltado. That one has French fries on it and rice with it. And so, I mean, I used to tear that up like there's no tomorrow. But now, I don't need it. If I do a keto version of it, I'll just do the onions and strip beef, and that's it. And so, because like I said, sometimes I'll switch to keto, sometimes I stick carnivore, sometimes I go back to keto, sometimes I just go back and forth on times. Right now I'm just doing an OMAD right now. So one meal a day. I smoke the tri-tip. I cut it all up. So then with that, I'll just put it in the air fryer for about maybe 3 minutes, and then eat that. Put a bunch of butter on it. But it's just funny because people just don't believe me that that I'm 62. Even on Instagram, some guy posted and said, "There's no way you're 62." And I go, "I am, bro. I am, bro. 1962. I don't know what to tell you, dude." And they just don't believe me. I have friends that known me since, man, since 1996. And a friend of mine's, well, a high elementary friend of mine just died. He was, well, not now, but maybe about 5 years ago. He was only 58 years old, died. I have another friend that's on statins, and he won't listen to me. I have a lot of people that I know that just don't want to believe me. But then when they meet me, they're like, "Really?" I go, "Yep, I am." And then when I tell them what I do, and they're like, "Really?" I go, "Yep, I do. I eat a lot of bacon. Sometimes I eat a whole package of bacon to myself." My kids get mad. "Dad, where's the bacon?" "I ate one." "Okay, I'll make another one for you." So sometimes I do that. But most of the times I stay away from pork unless I find something that's vegetarian fed. I don't eat a lot of pork. Chicken, I try to find chicken that's pasture raised chicken, which is kind of, yeah, it's not hard. I can order it online. I know there's some few places that do that. But here locally, it's mostly just meat, ground beef, eggs, sometimes some raw milk, some raw kefir. Um, I'm always, like I said, I'm always switching it up, just keep my body guessing, because I know when I used to do bodybuilding, I can bench press 210, 300, and then and I can do maybe 5, 6 reps of that, and then my body's used to it. And then the bodybuilder that I hired, he was an IBBF pro, and so he would tell me, always switch it up. Okay, do this week heavy, next week do this, and then now I do the more the hypertrophy workout. I can't even pronounce it. When you go light, light, heavy, heavy, light, light, heavy, 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 heavy. I do that now. And then I'll get on my bike in the garage. I work out. I got dumbbells. I got a rogue rack in the garage. I squat. And I really truly believe that this way of going. I always tell people, it this works for me the way I do my way, but your body probably could use some vegetables.
Mm.
And they said, "Yeah, I like broccoli, or I like spinach." And I go, "Well, I have a little issue with spinach and broccoli because if you ever eat spinach, you ever find your teeth like all gritty and stuff?" And they go, "Yeah, it's like sandpaper, when you rub your teeth with your tongue." And I go, "Well, yeah, because the plants have a mechanism to defend themselves. So they use that because they don't want to get eaten." And then I'll go with broccoli, and I go, "You know why it smells like someone farted in your house when you steam boil broccoli? It's because it has a fighting mechanism. It doesn't want to get eaten." And they go, they don't believe me. So then I'll send them the podcast of Anthony Shafee, and I go, "Well, listen to this doctor, and you tell me, you know." And so I don't eat spinach. I don't eat Romanian lettuce. If I ever eat any vegetables and my body can tolerate, it's asparagus and some what's that other white? Not cauliflower, but that cob,
Mushrooms.
huh?
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms sometimes, but mostly that cabbage. Cabbage.
Mm.
If I steam it, I can tolerate that. But Romanian lettuce gives me heartburn. Everything else just messes me up, and I don't eat it. But sometimes I do have some cabbage, but it's like maybe once a year. I don't have it all the time. But it's mostly just butter, meat, eggs, bacon, maybe some raw milk once a month, some kefir, some raw kefir. But other than that, that's it. And like I said last year, I was experimenting. I did 50 grams of carbs of rice, and man, I just felt so lethargic when I went into jiu-jitsu. I was getting hammered. And this was last year. I got armbarred, and I'm like, what the hell? I knew what he was doing. What took me so long to respond? My response time was like slow. It was like really, really slow. And so, yeah, I can't do these carbs anymore because I don't want to get submitted left and right here. And I was getting submitted. I know when I'm in ketosis and I'm doing the carnivore and my high fat and protein is up there, I feel like, oh, I know what he's trying to do. Okay, this is a counter for this. I know what he's trying to do. Oh, okay, I know the counter for that. And I'm boom, 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 moving. But when I do carbs, it's like, what is he doing? What is he doing? It's like my brain like delays to think of what's happening. And then for me, it was a good test because I can see when I'm full on in ketosis and my glucose is like well controlled. I mean, I'm on fire there. But when I added the carbs in, it was like, what is he doing? I couldn't think. So I don't do that carbs no more. I don't implement it.
Yeah, because
What was it?
this is the biggest thing I see in gyms. I always hear people talking about recovery. They're always using the ice baths. They're always looking for the quickest way to recover. And you can just look at what they're doing. They're drinking the energy drinks. They're eating bananas. They're protein bars. They're drinking whey protein. And it's like, listen, don't worry about the ice baths. Don't worry about going to yoga or doing meditation. Just fix your diet. Your diet
Mm-hmm.
is the problem. You're
Mm-hmm.
carrying way too much inflammation. This is the reason why you're not recovering. This is the reason why you're getting those pains. You're getting those joint pains. It has nothing to do with what you do in the gym. It has to do it's always got to do with your diet. You have to fix the
Mm-hmm.
diet.
Yeah, 100%. And I say that to a lot of people. They'll say, actually, a friend of mine's last night, I no, today's Wednesday, Tuesday, I didn't go. Monday, I went to jujitsu and I was rolling with the guy. And we sat up and I was talking to one of my good friends. And he goes, yeah, hey, Italo, I really think it's the food. And I go, bro, it is the food, bro. You need to change. Look, I can help you. Just do one thing. Get rid of all the seed oils, dude. Just get rid of all that. Read the labels. Look what you're eating. Don't believe what it says in the front. I can go to Costco and there's a lot of stuff in Costco says, oh, it's keto this, keto that. But when you turn it around, it's got all this garbage in it. And so I told him, don't ever believe what the front says. Go back to the box. Anything you pick up, read the label, and now we'll tell
And
you what's in the product.
and if you look at the last 20 years compared to like 50 years, there's way more ingredients in our food now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%.
When you look
100%.
when you look back in the 1950s, 1960s, you probably would have got about maybe six, maybe eight ingredients in foods. Now you look at a label, there's probably around 20, 30, 40 ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
My
insane.
daughter, yep, it's insane. My daughter, she likes to eat at Chick-fil-A, and I tell you, you need to stop eating that garbage, honey. She goes, but it's good, it's chicken. And I go, no, it's not. You go to the website of Chick-fil-A and you look at the ingredients. How in the hell does a chicken have 50 ingredients in it? And I said the bread has another 60 ingredients in it. Why you need 60 ingredients in the bread? And I tell her, and she goes, well, I don't know. And I want to tell you why. Because they put additives in there to make you addicted to it. They're just
Yeah.
a trick just to get you addicted. Same with Cheetos, same with all the other processed food out there. And I tell her, and
And,
I go, hey,
and see,
go
this
ahead.
this is the problem I have with a lot of people. I hate when people bring up the term calories. It's
Yeah,
all about calories. Focus
yeah.
on calories, lose weight, but they haven't got a clue what they're eating.
Mm-hmm.
And it really annoys me when you have so many people like fitness people, influencers, doctors, dietitians They just don't realize this. They just think that everything is based on a calorie deficit, and they don't care what ingredients is in the food. They'll just
Yeah,
tell you, oh, we should live in mod, we should have this, we should have a balanced lifestyle. It's just very annoying.
it is very annoying. It's like I was watching TikTok and this girl does this food thing, and she's at Taco Bell. She said, "Oh my God, I just had this so delicious." And blah. I go, "Girl, do you know how they make the Taco Bell food? It's disgusting. It's all dried up. They have to have water in it. They have to do all this stuff." And goes, just all processed garbage, you know. I have the same conversation with my kids, my daughter, my son. When we go out to restaurants, I always go online to see what they have in there, and I'll look at their stuff. So like, I know Lazy Boy, the restaurant out here where I live in Temecula, they have a Cobb salad, and their blue cheese I know has seed oils in it. So sometimes I'll bring my own Primal Kitchen, and I'll take and have the that on the side. So I'll eat the salad, you know, um, and of course, you know, I feel the effects afterwards. But most of the time, I try to get their ribs or steak. But man, you know, after going through Piedmontese, I don't know if you ever tried Piedmontese meat. Man, every steak that I eat around here, dude, nothing compares to that. Nothing. And then when you order a 16-ounce steak, you know, it's about maybe that big. It's a little tiny little thing. And so it's not sometimes not even worth it for me to go. So I would just order like chicken wings and eat that and try to get it with Parmesan and butter. And so it's just hard to go out. If I go to In-N-Out hamburgers, I'll order puppy burgers, which is just grilled meat, and then just put it on the grill and you just grill it. And so I'll eat maybe 10 of those. I was there one time In-N-Out, me and my son after jujitsu. He was hungry, so I ordered some, and some guy came up to me and said, "Hey, are you carnivore?" I go, "Yeah, dude." He goes, "Man, I just saw you eating all that meat. I figured you were carnivore." I go, "Yeah, I'm carnivore, dude." And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, it looks like you guys came out of karate and jiu-jitsu." He goes, "Oh, you guys do jiu-jitsu?" And I go, "Yeah, me and my son do jiu-jitsu." And he goes, "Oh man, you know, yeah, I'm too old for that." So I asked him, "Well, how old are you?" He goes, "Oh, I'm 42, bro." And this is when I was 60. And I told him, "Bro, I'm 60." He looked at me and goes, "There's no way in hell you're 60." And I go, "Ask my son." And my son looks at me, "Yeah, my dad's 60." And he goes, "Holy shit, dude." And I go, "Yeah, dude. I mean, no, you should go, dude. You should go and train, you know. I mean, it's good for you, for the mind, the health, everything, you know." But for going to restaurants and picking stuff, I become very picky now because I know that I know how food affects me. I know how it gets me. I know how things affect my body. I tested, I experimented with stuff, and I know the things I can't do and cannot do. So I stay away from that, you know. My wife, you know, we've been married for 24 years, you know, and she's, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, and so, you know, um, she's happy, you know. I remember one time when I was taking all those medications, you know, one of them was Lyrica, and I was very moody. This is back in 2007, 2005. I was very moody. I was very moody, like bad. I mean, I had a temper, I had everything. And thank God she worked at the pharmacy because she says, "You need to stop talking to me like that because, you know, I'm going to leave you." And my kids were baby at the time. And I was going, "Well, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just very pissed off." And she goes, "What are you taking right now?" "I'm taking Larica." She goes, "Let me have that bottle." She gets the bottle. She looks it up on her pharmacy, whatever. She looks at the paper and she goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. You need to stop taking this. This is making you very moody." So I went to the doctor and told him, "Hey, bro, you need to get me off of this." He says, "Okay, I'll put you on something else." Puts me on another prescription, and he says this is a time release, and it would I would start it on Friday night. So I did. I started on Friday night. It took a while to hit me, and then by Monday I was taking another one in the morning. And man, bro, when I went to pick up my kids, I was falling asleep. It like hit me really hard, and I'm like, oh crap. So I kept like waking up, and I mean, thank God we're only about 2 blocks away from home. Got the kids at home, got out of the car, got them inside, and I called my wife and go, "Hey man, these pills that I'm taking, they're really making me really drowsy." She goes, "But you started on Friday." I go, "I know, but now it's Monday and they're really hitting me hard." She goes, "Oh, you better tell your doctor." I'm so, "Fuck." So I had to tell him. So eventually, I just decided just to completely get off of everything. And this is back when marijuana was you have a medical reason to use it. So then I subscribed and I went to a guy and he gave me a prescription, blah blah blah. I went to a pharmacy thing. I had the thing with me for at least a month. I was so scared to use it. I didn't want it to, but man, I couldn't sleep. I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I just couldn't sleep. And this is when I was really fat. And so I'm like, shit, man, I can't sleep. I'm weak, because I'm sleeping during the day when I'm picking up my kids. And when I get home, I'm like wide awake. And so one day I said, you know what? I'm just going to take a little hit. I took a little hit. I was so paranoid. I closed all the windows, put the fan on, and I sat on my couch and I'm just like, I'm gonna just watch TV. I kept looking down the hallway, picture of my daughters running at me, Dad, Dad, what's wrong? And so, but I fell asleep and I woke up like a baby. I felt
Well,
so comfortable. But then, I did it for about a month and then I was like, I can't do this no more. And so that's when 2008 came in, and that's when the doctor told me that I was, borderline, type 1 diabetic. And then I was like, I have this change everything. I had to replace everything, change everything. And so when I did that, now we're in 2024. I feel amazing. I feel great. I don't walk around with a cane anymore. I can go to Disneyland with my kids. I can walk all day with them. I can get on rides. Um, I can, work out in my gym at home. I can, wrestle with my son now. I can, be there for my daughters, go out with them, and they don't have to worry about me because every time we went out when I was injured, they was like, no, Dad, can't do this. So there was always like this, shit, shoot, I shouldn't tell them because then they're going to stop doing what they want to do. So then I stopped saying, my knee hurt or my back hurt or my shoulder hurt or something was hurting. So when we go to Disneyland, I was in pain, man. I was in so much pain that I will walk with them and they want to get on a ride. They go, Dad, you coming out? No, I'm going to sit down right now, honey. Because and plus I was so fat that I couldn't fit inside the chairs, because I was so fat. And so um, again, I just sat there and waited until they get in. And that gave me a time to like, okay, I can relax my knee, I can relax my back, I can do all the other stuff. And then back in when I lost all the weight and we went to Universal Studios here in California and they have this Harry Potter ride. And the first time I got on it, they have like a little example chairs you can sit on, and you have to put this thing over you, and it never fit me. So my daughter goes, Dad, you gonna try? And I go, yeah, honey, let's go see if I fit. And then I fit. They're like, yeah, Daddy can fit. So I went on with them, and I was able to go on the rides with them and do stuff with them. But man, dude, I will never, ever, ever go back to doing the way I was eating. I'll never do it again, dude. And I'll see friends, they're getting their crispy donuts, eating their M&Ms at night, and eating their candies and all this other stuff, bro. And I'll look at that, and like, hey, that's their choice, that's the choice they wanna live, that's the choice they wanna make. Hey, go for it. And if it works for you, go for it. I'm not trying to be dogmatic about my way is the way to go. It's just this way for me works, and so that's why I do it. But I
I think,
know that if I would,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, I always say this to people as well. Unless you actually try this, give it at least a couple of weeks. I don't think people will ever understand the power
hmm
this way of eating really has
hmm
on people.
hmm Yep, they don't understand. And I try to lead by example. I tell my kids, I try to lead by example. I train. They come up me, people ask me, and I tell them I help you, dude. But you have to, your mindset needs to be there because you need to try this. You know, if you're gonna try this, you need to really go in for a whole 30 days. Give it 2 weeks, you know, and then you're gonna go through these phases, and I'll tell them what those phases are, and then they'll say, "Did you go through it?" Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You know, that's what I'm telling you. Those are the phases you people. A lot of people go through them. Some people don't. Maybe it lasts for a week. Maybe it lasts for 3 days. But you will start feeling it. In 2 weeks. The difference. Once you start
And this
switching your.
this was the main reason why I wanted to set up this podcast, to meet people like you, because I live in a country where you can't mention keto or carnivore, because if you do, you're one of these people that are going to kill people. Too much red meat is going to kill you. Too much cholesterol, too much fat. And I'm trying to be someone like you, that's a role model, that's trying to help people. And it's very, very hard to get my point across to people in a country where no matter what you say, they won't listen to you. And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
had to make a podcast and listen to people like you that has gone through this, that was severely overweight, that was had all the problems, the diabetes, and has literally come out the other side. Well, I mean, when it comes to research, talk to me about research, about data. I'm like, I don't care about your research. I don't care about your data. I care about what this person's actually telling me face to face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And that's a lot of things that, when you share your story and you tell people what you went through and and how this helped and how it changed, and I tell them, it's bro, I wake up like I was 20 years old, if you know what I mean, and I mean, I've never felt like that when I was in my 30s and my 40s and my 50s. I never felt like that. Now, I wake up and I'm like, boom, ready to go. It's and another thing too is that a lot of guys that are like in their 50s and 40s and their 20s, they're taking TRT,
I
you
know.
know, and
Yeah.
they're taking TRT, and they call me the old man strong is what they call me at the gym because they can't believe how strong I am. I mean, I can lift some guy off of me and roll him over, and they're like, "Damn, dude, you're freaking strong. How much TRT you're taking?" I'm not taking any TRT, dude. I'm not taking none of that stuff. I'm not. And they'll say to you, "You haven't even tried it." I go, "Yeah, I experimented with it, but I don't need it.
Don't
I
need
don't need
it.
it."
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I notice as well. But you see an awful lot of men, especially when they get to 50, they lose everything. They lose the libido. They lose their strength. They lose their six pack. They lose all their testosterone, and they're relying on this. But they're still
Hmm.
eating shit. They're still eating
Yeah,
that shit, and
yeah.
they're looking at me, and I'm the same age, and I'm like, I'm not taking any TRT, and if anything, I look better than you. I look way better
Hmm.
than you. I'm not. I'm
Yep.
not. I'm walking around now every single day with a six pack. I
Hmm.
don't track any calories. I don't track any macros. I eat until I'm full. I'm in the best condition I've ever been in my life. I have no inflammation like you. I'm able to do stuff now that I couldn't do years ago because I would have been sore, or I would have had mental health issues, or I would have been angry about certain things. All of that is gone now. Everything is gone.
Yeah, exactly. They don't believe me when I see people taking there's one guy that takes a lot of TRT and he goes, "Yeah, I gotta do my cycle. I'm doing a 6 month cycle and then after that." And I go, "Bro, you can really get off all that stuff, dude." And he goes, "Well, aren't you on it?" And I go, "No, I'm not, dude. I don't take TRT." I think when I tested my last time I tested my TRT was back in I was 57, 58, I think, and it was at 786. My TRT at 56 or 57. And now tell them, and I show them. I go, "Look, this is what my TRT was," and they're like, "There's no way in hell you be," and because they're my age, they are the age I was when I was their age, and they're like,
Yeah.
"There's no way," and I go, "No, bro, I didn't do any of that stuff, bro," and they're like, "Really?" He goes, yeah. And then it's funny because when I tested my TRT before keto, it was at 296 or 295. After keto, that's when it went up to 700. And
Wow.
the doctor looked at me and said, "Are you taking any TRT?" Nope, I'm not taking any TRT. Are you sure? I go, I'm positive. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And so the good thing is that, I fired him, of course. I just said, okay, I'm not dealing with this guy. I'm finding someone else. And so I just found someone else. And, and even him was the same type mentality, didn't believe anything. But I don't care, I mean, you believe whatever you want, I'm telling you what I did, and this is what works for me. Even going to the gym now, people are like, this dude is strong. Even the younger guys. There's a guy that's 22 years old. His father is 57, and his name is Chris. He's a good kid. He's a Marine, and he comes in there and trains. And I talk to him, and he goes, "Damn, bro, you're freaking strong, dude. I mean, it's like I can't get nothing on you, because I defend myself well. I push them off, I flip them over, whatever. I hold their arms really tight." And they just can't move me. And they're like, "Damn, you're strong." And they always ask me, "You taking anything?" Oh, no, dude, I'm not taking anything, bro. Just fat and meat. That's it. That's all I eat. I
I
don't
mean,
eat anything else.
what else? What else do you need?
Yeah, what else do you need?
What?
Exactly.
What? Like I don't get when people talk about carbohydrates and when they're trying to build muscle. It's like, no, dude, you do not
No,
need any carbohydrate at all to build muscle. Not
nope.
1 gram.
Exactly. I even did a little research on myself. I think I posted on my Instagram. I did a month, and I have an in-body scale upstairs in my bedroom. So I started off, I don't remember, but then I showed the scale because I tell them it you can weigh, let's say, 200 pounds, but what's your body fat mass and your body mass muscle? What are those two numbers? That's the important part, because you can be fat, have a high fat, and weigh 200 pounds and have
Yeah,
less muscle. And so
exactly.
they're like, no, no, that can't be. And I go, no, it is, bro. And so when I did my study and I showed, look, I've gained, 4 or 5 pounds of muscle within, 5 weeks. And that was, I was raising
Yeah,
my cholesterol up, and I was raising my protein up, and no carbs. And they'll like,
yeah,
and I'll show them. I go, look, dude, this is my in-body scale, bro. Look, see my mass and see this? That's my that's my body fat mass, and that's my muscle mass. Look at my muscle mass. Look at my body fat mass. It's down. I don't care about the BMI. The BMI has been what, since 1940 or something like that was
yeah,
done. You know,
yeah.
I don't.
If if I was to look at my BMI right now, I'm probably over 30, and that's classed as obese.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they're
I
like,
mean,
they're like, look, well, I don't know, dude. The government says, dude, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something about the government. I don't believe anything they say, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I don't believe anything they say. I did everything 100 and 360 degrees from what they said, and here I am, dude. So I don't know what to tell you. And then I'll show them my fat picture. They're looking at it, and I got this big belly, and I'm sitting on this chair, and they go, "That was you?" I go, "Yeah, that was me, dude. That was me." And
yeah.
because I was eating what the government was telling me to eat because I believed them, but now I don't, dude. I don't trust them. I don't believe anything they say. I think it's true. And I'll send them that fat documentary. You ever seen that one? The fat
I think
documentary?
I actually did, how I came across you was you did a voice on I can't remember what video it was, but it was a really good video. And I was like, I'm actually gonna use his voice on a video, and it's actually on one of my pages. I'll actually send it to you after this. But I actually used it, and people couldn't believe it. People
Hmm.
couldn't believe it, that what the government were actually doing, because it was that powerful. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I need to meet. I need to actually talk to this person now when I see him.
Yeah. No, I sent it to my friends. I sent to everyone. They don't believe me. They think that, the government has
Best
an
interest.
eye on them. Yeah, best interest, and they don't. They really don't. They just care about the pharmacy and the pills. Every time you go to a doctor, I ask my friend, what is the first thing that doctor does when you go see him? He goes,
Yeah,
he
I know.
gives me a pill. Exactly. He didn't ask you what you're eating.
But did you see the study from last year? Big Pharma made over $41 trillion.
Yeah.
41 trillion.
Yeah. That's ridiculous, dude. That is so ridiculous. You know, my daughter, she the oldest, I tell her that, she goes, "Oh, I need to take iron supplements." I go, "No, you don't. Just eat a piece of steak. Just eat
Yeah,
some meat. That'll give you all
yeah,
the iron you need." I got a iron cast a pan inside there. Use that. Fry it with some tallow. Use some ghee butter. Don't use that
yeah.
other crap. We don't have that stuff.
You got to get all the vitamins and minerals, everything you need in red meat. You're missing out on nothing.
Yep, you're missing on nothing. The only thing that
Absolutely.
yeah, the only thing I have a beef with my wife is that she likes to eat her meat well done. Like it's like well done.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, the blood's disgusting." I go, "No, it's not, honey, because I eat mine's like medium rare. It's just a little bloody." And she goes, "I don't understand how you eat that." I go, "Well, I'm not. That's where everything's at. It's in there. If you cook it well done, all you did was just you're eating a beef jerky. That's all you're eating, you know." And then she goes, "Well, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try." And then she throws all the fat away. And I tell her, "You need to eat the fat, especially when I cook a ribeye for her." And I go, "I'm not making you no ribeyes if you're not going to eat the fat. You need to get the fat." She goes, "Well, I don't like the fat because it's chewy." Well, you need the fat. And then I'll tell her about Bella, butter steak and butter gal. I'll tell her and I'll show her, look, here's a video, listen to her, and you tell me, because they did a video on how a lot of women in her group eat a lot of fat and how changed their hot flashes. They used to be cold all the time and now they're not. And so I share those with her. But like I said, I can walk them to the water. I can't make them drink it. I just say, hey, there it is. You do what you got to do. But I just I'm always trying to lead by example, trying to tell my kids, my son, and I wish, like I tell him, I wish I knew what I know now. I would never be feeding you Fruit Loops, Pebbles, Cinnamon Crunch, because they used to eat that for breakfast all the time. I would have never bought you none of that stuff. The Infamil, the powdered milk. My wife breastfed all my kids until 6 months, but after that, we went into powder. And now that I know what I know and I read the back of that label, it's like, oh my God, there's a lot of crap in that thing. And I tell people, but this like they just it's like one ear and out the other. They don't believe me. They think that the government has their best interests, and they don't. I mean, honestly, they don't. They just want to
Well,
make their money.
the way I see it, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, people just have to look at they just have to look at you and say, listen, you can't argue. You can't argue with me. There's the proof. There's my ID. I'm 62 years of age. I'm in the best condition I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been. That's it. And like, what's your weight at the moment?
Mine right now,
Yep,
240.
240. So you've lost 120 pounds.
Yes, I went down to 235,
Wow,
and then
that's
and
incredible.
then yeah,
Incredible.
I went I went down a lot. And I was wearing a size 55 waist. I had shirts that were like triple X. I have t-shirts. I still have t-shirts that are double X, and they fit me like pajamas. They just all the way down to my knees.
And
And
have you got a before and after picture?
yeah, I do. I have a
I'll have
before
to
and after picture.
get that picture and put on a thumbnail on this podcast.
Okay, yeah, I do. I have it before and after. I have one that I took when I was dieting, when I was doing my muscle increase, showing people how you increase your muscle, that you can do it. Because there was people debating me at my gym. I said, no, you can't just grow muscle. Yes, you can. You can. If you do it right, if you use the right stuff, no carbs, no
Mm-hmm.
vegetables. If you use the right stuff, I can do it. So then I proved it to them. Look, I gained 4 pounds of muscle in a week. And they're like, there's no way. And I go, yes, there is. You can. And if I'm 60 at that time, I think 60 years old. I go, if I'm 60 years old and I can still increase muscle, and I'm showing you, I mean, well, you got to go on a DEXA scan. Well, the in body is close to a DEXA scan, unless you want to pay it for me and pay my
Yeah.
gas to go to a DEXA scan. I'll do it for you. I mean, it's not. I think it's only 0.06% off from what a DEXA scan is like. So I mean, that's pretty close. And I'll tell them, yeah, dude, I just eat a lot of fat. I even posted on my Instagram, me eating a chunk of butter. Posted on my Instagram where I'm eating a steak and I put butter on top of it. Um, I eat a lot of fat, a lot of tallow, a lot of ghee butter, a lot of grass-fed butter, some of the Kerrygold butter. Sometimes I'll order because I know that when you go to supermarket, it's a little bit more expensive just getting one bar versus going to Costco. I mean, I go to Costco, I get four bars for $15. If I go to let's say a Sprouts or a Whole Food, one bar of butter is like $7. So it's just like okay. I get two of those, the same price as four at Costco. So I'll get the Costco butter. Um, and I've tried the raw butter. I like that. I've tried I everything else. Even it's funny because I talk about it. This one lady, someone said at the store, I was buying raw milk for my son. And she goes, "Oh, you got to be careful with raw milk." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because that's not good for you. It's not pasteurized." And I go, "Well, pasteurized is not good for you because it burns all the vitamins that you need. This is more pure than the other one." And she's like, I don't know. I'm a nutritionist." And I said, "Okay, well, you decide what you want to decide, but I'm telling you that the raw milk has got more vitamins, more nutrients in it than the pasteurized one. Because you know what pasteurized means, right?" She goes, "Well, of course, I'm a nutritionist." Okay, then, so you understand that, a lot of it is burnt. So it's like frying a steak well done. And she just looked at me. So I grabbed my gallon of milk and, walked out with my son with it. And it's just funny when people come at me and they start asking me these questions, or if I'm sitting there educating my son on a product or something, and I'll see people listening to me at Costco, and then this one lady looked at me, she goes, "Are you serious about what you just said?" I'll go, "Yeah, look at this, look at that." And she goes, "Because I just heard you from over there." And I'm like, I just looked at it and I have it in my basket. And I go, "Well, it's not keto. Especially some bread or something, but it says keto." "No, it's not. Look at the back. And it has all this stuff on here. It's not keto." And she's like, "Oh, really?" I go, "Yeah, it's all propaganda, all marketing. That's all it is. They just want to make a profit because a lot of people don't understand that they need to read the labels and they don't. They just look at the front. Oh, it's keto friendly. Oh, okay, I'm putting it in my basket." No, you got to read everything. And she's like, "Well, now I'm gonna have to read everything because I heard you saying." And then and she's asking, "Well, thank you, young man." And I go, "Well, thank you, thank you." And then my son turned around and go, "He's not young." she, then she goes, "What do you mean she's not young? My dad's 60." She's like, "Oh, what?" I'm 48. And she looked old, dude. She had gray hair. I mean, walking like hunchback, not sitting up, It's like she goes, "There's no way you're that age." And my son said, "Yeah, he is." So, I always get people they just don't believe me, bro. They just don't. They'll I have to I think I'm gonna have to carry my birth certificate with me and show. No, seriously, dude, I
Well,
am.
the way I see it is you're clearly doing something right. You clearly are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, I couldn't believe it when you said to me at the very beginning you were 62. I didn't believe it.
Yeah. I'm 62, bro. I
Look,
sometimes
honestly, you look incredible. Absolutely
thank
incredible.
you. Yeah. My
It
wife and
really,
yeah, people look at my skin and they're like, "You have no wrinkles." They're looking like right here. I go, "No, I have no wrinkles." And they're like, "Man, I just can't believe you." And one lady took a picture of me at jiu-jitsu. She goes, "I have to show my friends that I was 60 at the time. That was 2 years ago." And she takes a picture of me. She goes, "I got to show my friends. Then my friends are not going to believe me." I go, "Yeah, I'm 60." And she took a picture of me and she sends it. And then she saw me last year and I asked him, "So how did my picture do?" She goes, "My friends still don't believe you." And I told her well, at that time I was 61. That was last year. And so I told her, "Well, this year I'm 61." And she goes, "Yeah, I just can't believe you, dude. I just can't believe you." And she eats a lot of vegetables. And she's because I seen her Instagram page and puts a lot of salads and a lot of other stuff, and she uses I forget that Paul Newman's dressing, and that shit's got a lot of garbage in it, it's got a lot of crap in it, and I just watch them just doing that, and I'm sometimes like I'm afraid to say anything. It's like when you go to gym, right? You see some dude doing some reps. He's doing biceps and he's like swinging and stuff. And you're not supposed to swing, right? You're supposed to sit steady, focus on the negative, focus on the positive, and you want to go up to him, say something. And sometimes, that doesn't work. And so it's like because I did try it one time. I go, bro, can I show you how to do that? No, dude, I know how to do it. So it's like, oh no, okay, cool, so I never do it again. So when I see people doing stuff, eating food or picking groceries, it's like I'm looking at their basket. I'm like, oh my God, they got they got the crunchy cereals. They've got the all this other candy, this chocolates and the breads at Costco's. Their big muffins at Costco. They got all this stuff in there, and then I look at their body structure and I'm like, okay, well that makes sense why they're like that. And it's just sad. I wish I could tell them, hey, you should get rid of all that stuff. But then, it's not my place to do that. It's I have to. That's why I keep posting things on my Instagram, my Facebook. I just keep posting things, and so I've always wanted to share my story, and I want to share this with people. You can believe me or not believe me, I mean, I don't have no reason to lie to anyone. I'm not going to gain anything from a lie. Like I tell my kids, you can lie in this world, but trust me, dude, it's going to come out. It always comes out.
Exactly.
So for me, I don't have time for that crap. I'm beyond that.
You have to keep on making a difference because you're clearly making a difference to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people, as I mentioned at the very, very beginning, I think eventually people will catch on this diet. I think people will be like, you know what? Okay, we've been lied to for many, many years. There's a reason why I don't feel good. I'm not going to the doctors anymore. I'm not trusting the PTs anymore. I'm not trusting the fitness people anymore. There's something going on, and I have to try and fix it. And I think the more we keep on speaking about this, because I'm only doing this 3 years now, and I remember 3 years ago, it wasn't as popular as what it is
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people doing it now, so many. But 3 years ago, I never even knew about carnivore. 3 years ago, there was only a handful of people like Sean Baker, Chafee, all these people, Steak and Butter Gal. There was only a good and a few people, but now when you look on Instagram, when you look on TikTok, you can clearly see there's actually more people. There's more and more people in the world that are actually doing this, and their stories are incredible.
Hmm.
They're reversing all the conditions, and that's the most inspiring thing is that when you
Hmm.
hear someone and they have gone through the mill. Like I was only listening to a podcast there about 3 weeks ago, I think it was, and there was a woman that was going through cancer, and she reversed the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. The
Incredible.
some girl named Sammy, she did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely, it was very, very inspiring to listen
Yep.
to it. It was like, wow, this woman, like you, this woman was on our last stand. Our doctors were saying to her, like, listen, you're probably not going to make it. You know what I mean? This is what we have to give you. You're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. And she was like, no, I'm actually going to do this my way. I'm
Hmm.
actually going I'm actually going to try this way of eating first, and let's see what happens. And she did
Yep.
it for at least 8 months, and it literally changed her life.
Yep.
Incredible story. Incredible.
Yep. Yep. A lot of people out there, and I tell my friends, I go, look, dude, I'll give you a list of people to listen to. Go and listen to them. First is, Sean Baker, Dr. Shafee, Dr. Barry, Saladino, Steak and Butter Gal, uh, Sally Norton, the guy Noti, the professor, I look, go figure. And then I send them that documentaries. And, do it yourself, research. Now, if you need help, with how it goes, now I can help you with that. But you need to have that mindset that, you have to stop believing what you heard about you have to eat wheat and you have to eat this other stuff because it's all BS. And they go, look at what they just passed. What, a couple of years ago? They say that Fruit of the Loom is healthier than a piece of meat. You ever seen that that diet thing that they posted out? But that Fruit of Looms and all that other stuff is healthier than eggs, and eggs was like way in the bottom. I go, no, man, you got to do the opposite of what they're telling you. It's not true, dude. It's not true. Here I am, 7 years, dude. Next year in August, I'll be 8 years doing this. Oh, did you ever see that lady that's 80 something years old and she looks like 60? She was on Dr. Shafee's podcast. Did you see her? Yeah. Yeah, dude. And I tell them that. I go, look at this video, dude. You tell me. This lady's in her 80s, dude, and she's jumping over freaking fences, bro. I mean, come on. There's got to be something, dude. There's something wrong. And you either believe me or you don't, but do your research. Do your research. I'll send you stuff. There's one guy, he's finally decided that he's going to, do it. And so I told him, well, if you ever need help, do it. There's another guy that's a professor for Carlson Gracie. I saw him at Costco, and I say hi to him and everything. And I go, damn, bro, you look really good. He goes, yeah, bro, it's that carnivore diet. See, I told you. I go, bro, I never felt better in my life. And we text each other on Instagram. And I told him, if you ever need help, dude, reach out. You got any questions, I'll be more than happy to help. Everyone, anyone that wants to try it, I always tell them, hey, you need help, I'll help you, dude. I'll help you understand it. I can send you some links. I can show you what you need to do. You don't have to count calories on this diet, dude. I eat until I'm satiated and then I'm done, And sometimes, I don't eat in the morning at all. They say, well, you have to have breakfast. But no, you don't. No, you don't. I used to believe in that stuff. I used to have steel oaks. 1 cup of steel oaks, you cook it, makes 2.5 cups. I used to walk around with this big bowl with almond butter and honey, driving my kids to school while I'm eating it. So every time the light,
I,
you too?
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
very,
I
very,
used to do,
very,
yeah, dude. I used to do that crap all the time. My meals at 2 o'clock. I remember one time we were coming up to Los Angeles, and I live in Southern California. We used to live in Northern California by Sacramento, and I was doing the diet, and so I ate my breakfast, and 2 hours later, because it's a 7-hour drive, and I told my wife, crap, I need to eat. I need to eat. It's that time. It's that time. She goes, okay, okay. I got hungry, like hangry, bro. I got really mad. Goes, no, I got to get somewhere now. And then there was long stretches before next exit. And then there's huge lines because everyone else is traveling. So I'm in there and I'll park the car and screw it, I'm going inside. And I go inside and I'm looking at my clock. I got to eat at this time. I got to eat this time. It was terrible, bro. It was terrible. Now, I can drive to, if we go anywhere, I'll take a chomps, beef stick with me, some boiled eggs, some salt, and just salt the crap out of my boiled eggs and just pop one in and just chew it and drive. I don't get hangry anymore. I don't get upset. I don't get desperate to eat food anymore. If I don't eat that whole drive, I mean, I could drive 8 hours. I don't go to the bathroom a lot, so I don't have to go every 5 minutes to go pee. I didn't have to do that anymore. So it's like, and now I can drive with no problem, and I don't have to eat. I can wake up in the morning at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and just drive to go to work, and I'm fine. I'm sipping on my coffee and butter, and I don't eat until. So this place where I work, they order pizza all the time, every time. So they come and give it to me, and I said, no, I'm okay. And they're like, you sure? You sure? You need to eat? They have a lot of carbs, bro. They have hot dog buns with peanut butter, and the worst peanut butter you can get, the Skippies. And then they have the jam. I mean, if the peanut butter was clean, like maybe had 2 ingredients, I might maybe take a bite of that. But man, the peanut butter, Skippy peanut butter has like maybe 40, 50 ingredients in there. I don't even touch it. And then I try to explain to some of the guys there. He goes, how come you're not eating? I go, bro, that crab right there is poison. It's peanut butter. No, it's not. And then I'll look at that kind here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. Yeah, peanut butter should be only two things: peanuts and salt. That's it. And so uh, they will buy that stuff, and then they come by and give me sandwiches, like Subway sandwiches. And one time I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it. It had lettuce, tomatoes, and it was turkey. I pulled out that, and I said, well, it's like a salad, right? And so I just that in my mouth, and I threw the bread. And they go, hey, what are you doing with the bread? I go, I don't need the bread. What? And I go, no, I don't need the bread. But now, I didn't like the way I felt. It kind of made my stomach like upset, like I was growling all the time. So I don't do it no more. So they give me the sandwich, I accept it, and I'll leave it on my chair, and then I'll ask one of the guys, hey, you want that sandwich? Go ahead and take it. You don't want it? No, I don't want it. I'll put off my Chomp's beef stick. I have two of them. I'll put one. I have this. And he goes, that's not going to keep you full. And I go, yeah, it's going to keep me full. You eating that way, you're going to have to eat another 2 hours. You're going to have to eat again. You go, oh, yeah, I'm always hungry. I go, yeah, you're going to go back there. You're going to make your peanut butter, which is garbage, with your jelly, and you can eat again. And by the time tonight, you're going to probably eat maybe 5, 6 meals by the time you leave here. And he says, I only eat once. That's it. And I have my egg salad in my Yeti cooler, and I have both eggs in there, and I have a tuna sometimes in there, and sometimes I don't eat them. I just leave them in there, and when I get home at night, I just put them back in the refrigerator because the chomp just filled me up, and I'm fine. And they're just looking at me, and I goes, yeah, you don't eat? I go, no, I just need to eat once a day. Sometimes I can go 36 hours without eating, and they're like, no, you have to eat, you have to eat. I go, no, bro, you don't have to eat, man. And then I bring them back to how our ancestors used to live. I go, just imagine an ice ages, bro. You think they went out to an apple tree and got an apple? No, they had to go hunt. And you notice how fast they hunt an animal. It probably took them a whole damn week, maybe a month, just to get hunt an animal. And then they have a feast because mammoths were big, and if they caught a saber-toothed tiger, who knows what else they caught out there. I mean, our body's designed to not to constantly eat, dude. And they're like, I don't know about that. And I go, well, dude, you can think whatever you want to think. I'm just telling you how we used to eat back in the day. We used to eat like that. And I'm just going back. That's my way of hunting now. As I go to the grocery store or the butcher and I find my meat, I pick it up, go home, wait until 6 o'clock, and I'll eat it.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
what about your breakfast and lunch?
I know. Honestly, I could talk about this all day, but I want to be a
Yeah,
little bit
too.
respectful of time. So where can people go to find you?
Well, I have an Instagram page. It's called Carnivore Latino. I posted Carnivore Latino because a lot of people think I'm either Korean, Hawaiian, or Samoan. I'm not. I'm fluent in Spanish and in English. I was born out here. And then I have the Carnival Latino TikTok, and those are the two main ones. I do have an X account, but I haven't been active on that. I think I'm gonna start getting active on that. Start spreading out the word more because it looks like a lot of people are going out there and spreading out the word. So I think I'm gonna start using that maybe in another week or two. Change that around. But yeah, most of the time on Instagram, I'm always posting something or reposting from some other one, other influencers, doctors, whoever I see that I agree with. I'll post it. But most of the time is the Carnival Latino on Instagram and on TikTok. I do chat with people on TikTok too. So either of those two pages.
I'll put that link down below, and I would recommend anybody that's listening to this video to go and see his videos because they're very, very educational.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll definitely have to do one or two more of these in the future.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to start my own podcast too. I'm thinking about doing that. Um, um,
It's a,
so,
it's a great way of reaching out to a lot of people.
so all you do is just send an email and that's it, and tell them, hey, you want to talk, and that's it.
Yeah, just set her up yourself, and then you're the host, and then just bring on anybody you like. Then,
Okay, I'm gonna try that.
because I have Bart K coming out with me next week.
Oh, you do? I love that dude, man. He's awesome.
I
I
have
love
Bart
listening to him.
Yeah, I have Bart K coming on, so I'm trying to get as many influencers and people like yourself, inspirational people, because I want to just get that word out there. I want to help people. I want to come up with topics that people are listening to that is complete rubbish. And that's why I want to
Yeah.
just build this podcast and just try and educate as many people as possible.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that. That's my I want to help people. I want to show people, lead by example, let them know that, hey, there's other ways of going around instead of going to the doctor or getting TRT, there's other ways of going around there. It's funny, there's one guy, he's a TRT specialist. He's men's something it's called. And he told me, he goes, bro, I do a lot of TRT guys. I've never heard of a 61-year-old man coming here saying he has 798 testosterone. And he goes, you're like 1% of everyone. I go, bro, there's a lot of guys that can change all that around, bro. They just need to get off the freaking carb crap.
100%. 100%. No, I'll be looking forward to doing one of these again in the future with yourself.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do another one, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.